Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving back into a story of demons, sect rivalries, and a little bit of unexpected romance. So, picture this. Yumo is hosting a dinner for Qin Qi, Daoyuan, and the rest of the Lingxiao Sect disciples. But the mood isn't exactly festive. Yandan, ever the curious one, pulls Qin Qi aside to get the scoop. It turns out, a rather persistent cat demon has fallen head over heels for the daughter of a local official, Lord Z. He wants to marry her, but when Lord Z refused, the demons started making their lives a nightmare. Desperate, Lord Z turned to the Lingxiao Sect for help.
Qin Qi, being the sensible one, set up a sophisticated trapping array to catch the demon.
But Daoyuan, always eager to prove
He's the best. Couldn't wait.
he charged in recklessly, disrupting the array and allowing the cat demon to escape. The whole plan was ruined. Making things worse, Daoyuan refused to admit he was wrong and got into a screaming match with Qin Qi. The commotion drew Tang Zhou to the scene. Qin Qi, at her wit's end, begged him to step in and capture the demon. The sect's reputation was on the line. Daoyuan, however, just sneered from the sidelines, mocking Tang Zhou. He threw down a challenge. Whoever catches the demon gets to be the new leader of Lingxiao Sect. Tang Zhou coldly replied that he wouldn't interfere, but inside, he was torn apart by guilt. He knew the sect's current chaotic, leaderless state was his fault. Yet, with his cultivation gone, what could he do? Seeing his inner turmoil, Yandan made a surprising offer. She would teach him celestial techniques, giving him the power to catch the demon and restore his sect's honor. Things got even tougher for the sect. With their funds dwindling, Qin Qi had to lead the disciples to perform on the streets just to make ends meet. It wasn't long before local thugs showed up, demanding protection money. When Qin Qi stood up to them, they got aggressive and tried to grab her. Suddenly, from the shadows, a clever trick sent the thugs running in fear. Qin Qi knew immediate lead was Tang Zhou, secretly watching over them. Meanwhile, Daoyuan, still determined to go it alone, tried to capture the cat demon by himself. It was a disaster. He was quickly overpowered and badly injured. Just as the demon was about to deliver the final blow, Tang Zhou burst in, knocking the demon to the ground. But the proud demon wasn't done. He lunged at them again. This time, Tang Zhou and Daoyuan fought side by side, their combined strength forcing the demon to retreat. As he fled, the demon vowed to return the next day, to claim his bride, Miss Z. Tang Zhou carried the wounded Daoyuan back to the inn. Humbled and in pain, Daoyuan couldn't stop apologizing. Tang Zhou saw that despite his impulsiveness, Daoyuan's heart was in the right place. He realized the disciples needed to unite, not fight amongst themselves. Just then, Qin Qi arrived and started scolding Daoyuan for dismissing the other disciples earlier. This triggered another argument. Daoyuan shot back, reminding her of a past mission where his plan to trap a tiger demon was ignored, leading to heavy losses because she and the others acted behind his back. The old wounds were reopened, and the shouting started all over again. Finally, Tang Zhou had enough. He stepped between them and laid out the hard truth. Qin Qi was clever, but her cultivation was weak. Daoyuan was powerful, but he lacked skill with magical tools and arrays. Separately, they were vulnerable. Only by working together could they hope to protect Lingxiao Sect. His words hit home. The two rivals looked at each other and finally agreed to put their grudges aside. In a moment of honesty, Daoyuan admitted that Tang Zhou was the best demon master among them, confessing that his jealousy had stopped him from saying it sooner. He then took out the sect leader's jade gourd, the symbol of leadership, and urged Tang Zhou to take his rightful place. Qin Qi joined in, pleading with him to lead them. Tang Zhou accepted the gourd, but said he needed time to think of a plan to deal with the cat demon. As he opened his door to leave, he bumped right into Yandan, who had been shamelessly eavesdropping. She stumbled, trying to regain her balance, and then sheepishly congratulated him on brokering peace between Qin Qi and Daoyuan. Tang Zhou, knowing her cleverness, asked her for an idea. And, of course, she had a brilliant one. The next day, the cat demon arrived in full wedding regalia, ready to marry Miss Z.
But the bride waiting for him was none other than Tempsy Joe in disguise. The demon walked right into the ambush.
Yandan sprang into action, using her celestial arts to subdue him, and Qin Qi moved in to capture him for good with a special artifact.
Lord Z was overjoyed, showering them with thanks and praise for the Lingxiao Sect, seeing their sect's honor restored.
Qin Qi and Daoyuan shared a smile of genuine relief and camaraderie. Later, Yandan helped Tang Zhou remove his bride makeup, teasing him mercilessly. She threatened to write the whole embarrassing episode into one of her plays, complete with all the hilarious details. Annoyed but also amused, Temps Zhou decided to teach her a lesson and stuffed her into the jade gourd. But this time, something was different. Instead of a cramped space, the gourd opened into a vast, beautiful world.
Yandan looked around in awe as delicate snowflakes began to fall from the sky. Forgetting everything else, she and Temps Zhou started a playful snowball fight, their laughter echoing in the magical space.
In the magical gourd, the world was a canvas of pure white snow. Tang Zhou and Yandan built a snowman together, their laughter echoing in the quiet air. Afterwards, they lay side by side, watching their breath turn to mist. Tang Zhou wished this moment could last forever. That time would just stop, letting them stay like this, just the two of them. But Yandan, ever practical, reminded him they still needed to find the last divine artifact to repair his celestial robe. Tang Zhou, however, didn't seem to care. In that instant, Yandan saw a flicker of Ying Yuan in his eyes, but she quickly reminded herself that Tempsho was just the mortal incarnation of the great emperor. He would eventually have to return to the Nine Heavens, leaving her behind. When they finally emerged from the gourd, they found themselves back in Yumo's room. Yandan immediately started complaining, telling Yumo how Tempsho had locked her inside the gourd all day. Tempsho tried to explain, but Yandan just playfully argued back.
Yumo stood by, watching their familiar bickering with a quiet, bittersweet feeling.
Their friends, Qin Qi and Daoyuan, announced they were heading back to their sect the next day. Yandan tried to convince Tang Zhou to go with them, but he flatly refused. He had left his old life behind for good.
Seeing his resolve, Yandan poured him a cup of special Rui wine, telling him it would help him see his true feelings.
As soon as he drank it, a wave of drowsiness washed over him, and he fell into a deep sleep. With Tang Zhou asleep, Yandan slipped away. She found herself confiding in the quiet night, admitting that she had already forgiven Ying Yuan in her heart. Unbeknownst to her, Yumo was nearby, bringing her some food, and he overheard every word. His heart sank. He realized Yandan's emotional turmoil was all tied to one person. It began with Ying Yuan and was now being untangled by Temps Zhou. In this complicated love story, there was simply no space for him. Elsewhere, it was a day of celebration. Lui Weiyang and Tao Ziki were getting married. Standing before their friends, Lu Weiyang solemnly vowed to sever all ties with the demon race and the evil gods, promising to spend the rest of his mortal life with Ziki. She, in turn, pledged to stay by his side, no matter what, forever. Meanwhile, Tempsho was lost in a dream. He dreamt he was finally confessing his true feelings to Yandan, but just as the words left his lips, they both suddenly collapsed. He woke up with a jolt, his heart pounding with fear, and whispered a desperate prayer for Yandan's safety. In that moment of terror, his mind became clear. He had made his decision. His heart belonged to Yandan, and only her. The next morning, Yandan called out to Tang Zhou. Qin Qi and Daoyuan were about to leave. She had even bought a bundle of snacks for their journey.
Tempsho shared an emotional farewell with his sworn brothers, his heart heavy but resolute.
In another part of the mountain realm, Zilin, the turtle demon, was feeling down. He was deeply in love with Linlang, the fox princess, but felt he wasn't good enough for her. He lamented not having cultivated harder to earn her father's approval. But Linlang didn't care about status or power. She saw only the kind, gentle Zilin she loved. She leaned in and kissed him. Zilin was overjoyed. floating on a cloud of pure bliss. But their happy moment was shattered in an instant. A group of mysterious attackers dressed in black descended from the sky, swiftly capturing them both before they could even react. Back at their home, Yandan was carefully tending to Tang Zhou's old wounds. She reminded him to rest and then asked if the Rui wine had helped him find his answer. Looking into her eyes, Tang Zhou confessed that she was the person he wanted to protect most in the world, but Yandan gently pushed him away,
saying it was impossible.
Once he returned to his life as Ying Yuan in the 9 heavens, their story would have to end.
Tang Zhou, not wanting to let the subject go, asked her to teach him how to brew the Rui wine. Yandan refused,
saying the ingredients were too rare and the process far too complex. Later that night, Yumo saw Yandan outside in the freezing cold, carefully collecting dew from the winter leaves. He assumed she was doing it to brew a potion to help Tang Zhou sleep peacefully.
The next morning, however, when Yandan brought a newly made ointment to Tang Zhou, Yumo realized the truth.
She hadn't been collecting dew. She had been collecting moonlight. She was making a legendary scar-healing medicine for him. She had already gathered the first 3 flour and snow. The final and most difficult ingredient was moon, which required collecting moonlight over 4 specific nights: the new moon, the full moon, the waxing moon, and the waning moon. Yumo was deeply touched by her dedication and felt a pang of regret for ever misunderstanding her intentions.
Their quiet morning was interrupted when Bailing, another friend, rushed in, panicking. Linlang and Zilin were missing.
At that very moment, in the East Sea Dragon Palace, an invisible magical beast appeared before Tang Zhou with a chilling message. He was to bring the divine artifacts to Fengquan Valley the next day. If he complied, Linlang and Zilin would be released. If he refused, they would be killed, and the entire mountain realm would be destroyed along with them. Yandan was confused.
Tang Zhou had never used the 3 artifacts he possessed.
How could anyone know he had them?
Yumo voiced a chilling suspicion. The kidnapper might be the same mysterious figure who had once corrupted the Biming Immortal Lord and destroyed his own Jusi clan after the Great War.
This person was incredibly powerful, strong enough to break Tang Zhou's celestial robe,
and was likely a high-ranking immortal from the heavenly realm. Tang Zhou pieced it together. The enemy was powerful but was avoiding entering the mountain realm directly, likely to avoid alerting the heavens. Yandan insisted they couldn't hand over the artifacts. Giving them to such a malevolent being could plunge all 3 realms into unimaginable chaos. It was only then, faced with such a dire threat, that Tang Zhou finally accepted the truth he had been running from. He was Ying Yuan, the heavenly emperor, undergoing his mortal trial. Just then, Xian, a member of the Fox clan, arrived. He said he could use his clan's powerful sense of smell to track Lin. He asked Yumo to take him to Fengquan Valley, and Yumo agreed, without a second's hesitation. That night, Tang Zhou and Yandan sat together on the rooftop, the world quiet around them. They talked softly, sharing the silent weight of the impending danger. Suddenly, a brilliant shooting star streaked across the dark sky. Tang Zhou turned to Yandan, his eyes filled with a new resolve. What will he do? And can they save their friends from this mysterious and powerful new enemy? We'll have to find out next time. So much for watching! If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.